It's it's like it's an explosion. It's like when hot and cold meet. I'm hearing thunder and lightning, tornadoes, storms. So it's like what we want you to understand is that light energy and dark energy are going to come together and explode.
Well, I don't really know what to say about this video, except I think you're gonna love it if we can get the world not to explode. Okay, there we go.
Okay, so I'm ready whenever you are. You can go ahead and start with your first question.
Okay. Um, well, my first question is that knowing my background, Galactic and Earth, and my coming to Earth at this particular time, um, is there anything that they want to give me as an opening message in that theme of this being my very first incarnation on Earth and me doing kind of a mission to help humanity ascend to the fourth density?
They're laughing and they're saying, and you're doing very well. We want you to recognize that the soul that lies within you is of much knowledge and wisdom. We also want you to recognize that you are a grand master in in the realm of our existence. You've had a number of different lifetimes and experiences in different planets, different locations, and different areas, but the wisdom that you have lies far beyond the human realm. We also want you to understand that the that the existence of why you came to Earth at this particular time was to be a battle commander. Your soul was chosen to be a director of love and peace. We also want you to understand that the existence of your soul on the earthly plane at this particular time is to help coordinate ground forces so that they can become stronger and be more aware of the love that lies around them so that they can elevate in consciousness and affect others. You are the general, the colonel, the commander in chief that is helping to emanate the love light that walks upon the earth at this particular time. And once again, you have been selected specifically for this particular endeavor, as the knowledge and the wisdom of who you are is needed at this particular time. Now, does that make sense to you?
Completely. Whenever any channeler talks, I download it at pretty much the same time and I get the background information filled in. So I completely get what they're saying.
Okay, good.
Um, so I get exactly what you're saying. I know the general plans. There are some details that I would like clarification or more details on. One is that I carry codes of resurrection. Can you tell me more about those codes, about what they are and how to kick them online quicker or faster?
Yeah, I'm sorry, did you say codes of resurrection?
Yeah.
Okay. So they're saying resurrecting the dead. And what they're saying is that it's not resurrecting the dead, it's literally resurrecting the coding that has been um
Important
you're
on Earth and
yeah,
sacred sites, and then
yeah.
people too. We all have codes in us, so
Yeah, and
yeah,
it's more or less that you're resurrecting the dead codes.
gotcha. That
Okay.
completely makes sense.
Okay. So what we want you to see is that you have the ability to interconnect with the energy frequencies that lie within you. And it's like what I'm seeing is that you you can be anywhere you want to be. And it's like I'm seeing like a specific code that's in within your physical structure. There's numerous codes that are the same code that are around the earth. And when you focus or ignite the specific code that is within your system, you allow the energy pattern to ignite the same code wherever it may be. So it's almost coming online. It's like coming online. And so, what we want you to see is that you have the ability to do this with just being who you are. The more quiet and the more simplistic that you are in your human nature, the more that you tap into the galactic coding that you hold, and you can ignite each code within your physical structure and send the ignition out to all of the codes around the earth. As you do so, you'll begin to recognize that there will be more life activity that's being brought up. Okay, so like what I'm seeing is that this makes total sense now. Okay, so like war was happening in the Middle East, the codes are being ignited and it's stirring up that it's almost like it's stirring up the heaviness and the darkness and bringing it up to the surface. Oh,
which we want to happen. It's
yeah,
necessary. It's not
yeah,
pleasant right now, but we want it to happen.
yeah, and so there's what we're saying is that the upheaval,
Yep.
it's like it's when these codes are being ignited, it's bringing the darkness to the surface. And so you recognize that the turmoil around the entire earth is being brought to the surface as it
Mhm,
is the darker essence that is creating the turmoil.
mhm,
Recognize that all circumstances that are being forced to the surface is causing fear and chaos and unplugging.
mhm,
And so what we want you to understand is that you're assisting with this particular service by allowing your codes to ignite and shifting the energy to the earth beings, the beings that live beneath the earth, in order for them to, and I'm seeing like they have this little code that they're holding and they're
yeah,
shaking it.
yeah. To resurrect it, to bring it up
Yeah,
to, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like bringing it back to life and giving it life
Yes,
again. It's basically like resuscitation and resurrection. And so
exactly.
we want you to see that this is really significant, and that's another reason at this time. Wow, that makes so much sense.
It does. I've always been telling people that this is a shitty period, but it's necessary so that all of that dirt can come to the surface so that it can be seen and healed and then grow into a better thing. We're not going to have a better society until we clean up this dirty, ugly pus that's been there for centuries.
Yeah, and and I knew that I known that that's happening, but I never saw it in the sense that these codes are 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 being ignited in order to bring it up to the surface. Yeah, cool. I like it.
Very cool, very cool. Well,
Yeah.
that's actually a perfect segue to my next question, which I had down there was is that I know I'm supposed to do sacred site works, and I'm going to go to Machu Picchu, of which I think I sent Lisa a invitation to. But we can
Yeah.
talk about that afterwards. But
Yeah. Yeah, I need to,
um,
because I need to follow you up on that with you.
yeah, so everything you said about codes really fits in well with me going around the world to sacred sites to release codes, to give codes, to activate codes. And I have this very, very important trip to Machu Picchu, where I'm going to work with elder shamans there to do exactly kind of what the Akashic Records just said. So, any advice or any helpful hints for that particular trip and or going to other sacred sites around the world because I think that's in my future for me to do.
Okay, so what's the date that you're going to Machu Picchu?
September 11th through the 29th, but that is cut into four different phases. So you can go to any of the phases, but the complete trip is September 11th through the 29th.
Okay, so you're going to be there from
I'm
the
going for the
17th.
whole thing.
Okay.
I'm going for the whole thing.
Okay, what we want you to understand, and they're showing me circle. I don't ignore my hands because
Oh, I
it's
love
doing
hand
their
movements.
thing.
I do that all the time. So,
So what we want you to understand is that there's a circle of light that is coming into the Earth's presence in September at that
yeah.
particular in that particular time frame. And so what we want you to see is that the circle of light that, okay, so in Machu Picchu, I'm seeing the serpent.
Yep.
Okay,
Which
so
is turning into a dragon, by the way, but
yeah,
that's, yeah, that's a
yeah,
FYI.
well, yeah, the serpent and the dragon, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's funny because I had an experience of seeing a dragon in a ceremony, and it turned into, they kept calling it the serpent. But okay, so but what we want you to understand is that the serpent is coming back to life.
Yes.
And in September, that specific ignition period is where and why you're being drawn to the specific location and in order to do the ceremonies. What we want you to understand is that it's an integration time. We want you to see that as the serpent comes to life, then you'll begin to understand that not only does the earth need to absorb the energy, because it, again, what the serpent energy is that it's bringing everything to life.
Hmm.
And I'm just seeing like all the crystals are
Correct.
on fire
It
and they're
it's
sparkling.
actually bringing back to life since the Lemurian times. That's when it went underneath. That's when
Uh-huh.
the dragon went hibernating. So it's been gone for like 26,000 years or something like that.
Yeah.
So now's the time
So
that it's resurfacing.
oh, Lemurian crystals. It's like
Yeah,
because that's why I'm seeing the crystals because
correct.
they're
They're
connected.
tied to the
Okay.
dragons. The
Okay.
Lemurian terrors are tied to the dragons, and I know all about Lemurian histories
Okay.
and that activation tool.
Okay. Okay. So, what we want you to understand is that it's important for you to be there in order for this energy to ignite. And again, because the earth is going to be igniting at the same time,
Hmm?
you're there to help balance and help to um, it's almost like it help to control. It's almost like you're going to prevent it from being an explosion, like too much. It's like you're going to help hold the energy down and disperse it exactly as it needs to so that it doesn't become too overwhelming and that basically what I'm hearing, so the earth doesn't explode. I don't think that's exactly what they mean, but basically because it'll be a big influx for humans and
Yeah,
for animals and everything to
yeah,
absorb this
yeah,
energy,
yeah.
and that I'm feeling like heart palpitations and like stomach issues. It's going to, if it's not regulated and maneuvered around, dispersed evenly, then there may be heights or influxes that are
Got it.
too much for
To
humans to
balance it. For
handle.
me to balance it.
Yeah, yeah,
Got it. Got it.
yeah. And this is through the entire month of September. And
Okay.
what we do want you to understand is that it is significantly important for you to be there at that particular time so that you can help regulate the energy activations that will be occurring.
Yes. I also get that site Machu Picchu. That's when the Earth ley lines, the dragon lines, are going to converge, and that's the energy portals that are feeding the Earth and going to Machu Picchu, and that's actually the new home of the dragon energy. So that's why there's going to be so much energy there. It's converging of the ley lines, shifting of the ley lines, and moving an expansion of the Earth chakras to that point. So that's building, and plus we have solar flares happening now coming to the planet. So everything's happening and converging there. So I download that, and that's why it's so important for many of us to go there. And I'm getting that my purpose is exactly what you said. I'm a harmonic sound weaver, cosmic sound weaver, harmonic architect, and my thing is to balance the field, to keep the field attuned and balanced because of what you said. The energy is going to be spiking all over the
Yeah.
place, and I'm just gonna be there in residence and meditate and just hold the field constant for people so that they can absorb the new energy onto Earth and themselves.
Interesting. Okay, because I'm a grid worker too, and I didn't really know how I was a grid worker. I mean, it was like it was brought to me like in 2015. And they call me a key holder, that I'm a key holder. But I've never really known what to do with it. Well, 2 nights ago, I had a dream, and that this dream was me using the key to activate these grids. And again, I've never been anybody that's like, oh, I need to go sit on a grid line. I need to, that's not really been my thing. But as you're saying this, I'm recognizing that I need to be here and do whatever needs to be done at that time to hold the grid in balance in this part of the world.
Yes,
How
yes.
interesting.
Because
Thank
you,
you.
you can do that, and you can help out, and you can bilocate. You can do grid work. It's helpful if you're physically there, because then you're close to that vibration and you can
Yeah.
recognize the vibration. But
Uh-huh.
you and other people can bilocate and do grid work without actually traveling to the grid. We actually all can. We all can,
Yeah.
but we don't know it. We haven't developed
Yeah.
it yet.
Yeah.
But you know, I think that's in your future, is to bilocate and do grid work, because Earth needs a lot of that, and you know, it's probably evidently what you signed up for.
Yeah, and I've been told that, before I even really comprehended any of this, I was told that I was a grid worker, but it just never has been something that I've wanted to pursue or learn more anything about. I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. And then that thing happened and it's like, yeah, okay, well, I don't know what to do with it, but it's interesting because about 3 weeks ago, I also had a very clear vision of this grid and it looked like it was like an iron grid that was
Hmm.
around the earth and it collapsed. And I kept hearing it's the old paradigm collapsing, but it was very much a big grid that fell and
Yeah.
exploding and all of that stuff. And that's the old paradigm that's collapsing.
Right.
And then coming in with this new grid stuff,
Hmm.
the reignition of the
Right.
old
Right.
original. Oh, ah. So what I'm hearing is that it's the ancient the grid lines that hold the promise of truth and love are
Yeah.
what's being reignited. And I know this wasn't a question, but I think I have to say it out loud.
Oh, I
So
love this guy. I love
okay.
this
So
esoteric
what I'm
words.
hearing is
Yeah.
that there were alternate grids that were
Hmm.
put in place by
Yes.
alternate beings that were
Correct.
not of the love and the light.
Correct.
And that's what diminished the light of the love grids. And
Correct.
it's like what I'm seeing is that like they kind of came down and those love grids, the original ancient grids weren't able to get the vibrational frequency to stay lit. And
Hmm.
so these old grids that were holding in or preventing the ancient grids to
Hmm.
stay ignited, that's what fell.
Yep, and it's been a long time waiting for this, and this has been foretold for, I think it's like 26,000 years, during the age of Aquarius, which we are in now, that
Yeah.
that grid will fall down and we will connect the new grid. And
Yeah.
that's why we're all incarnating on Earth right now, to connect the new grid, to help humanity shift into the fourth density.
Wow.
That's the whole purpose of this. This has been going on. We've been waiting for this for a long time, since Lemuria. I think Lemuria is when it went down, and that's when the dragon energy went down, and then this new grid went up, and it was a male energy dominance control logic. It was false, but now we know that it had to play its part, and now its time has come to fall down, so we can rebirth to the new grid. Us grid workers are going to connect it during the age of Aquarius, and we're going
Interesting.
to balance the male and female energy. And when we get that grid up and running, it will connect and power not only humans, but also Gaia more, and make it in tune with Gaia. Gaia's already shifted. It's us humans on here that need to shift with her.
Right.
So by
Right.
doing
Yeah.
this grid, that's what we're doing. So we're providing power to the humanoids, in order to
Yeah.
raise their density level.
Yeah.
So that's why the grid work is so important, and it's so masterfully planned to happen right now. I mean,
Yeah.
we're really happening right now, with key individuals like yourself, me, and other people, to go and unite that grid, to have our psychic powers come on, so that we can know what we're going to do, and then we are going to power humanity to raise to the fourth density. I mean, that's why this is all such a beautiful, exciting time. You know,
Really is. Yeah,
yeah.
it really is. Yeah, so again, like I don't really read anybody else's stuff or really get into anybody else's stuff because I don't want to be polluted.
Hmm.
You understand what I mean? I think
Yeah.
whatever I channel, I want it to be. I don't want my mind to ever interfere with what I'm saying.
Hmm.
So this is kind of new. It's like I knew it. I know it.
Yeah.
I knew that the earth is already raised. I
Yes.
know all of this. And
Yeah.
but again, when I saw the grid collapsing, and
Yeah.
I've seen grids, last year in September there was a new grid that was put in place, I was told about. And so, but I just didn't understand all of the connectedness. It was kind of like, yeah, okay, it's a grid. Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
No.
this is interesting to me. This is really fascinating.
Yeah, no, and we talked about it. We talked about the pyramids around the world, and we
Uh-huh.
talked about how that is actually like connecting the grid. Those are, and we're
Yeah.
going to pyramids and sacred sites, and those are points on the grid that we're all activating around the world. It was created by Thoth, in order to have, and a lot of other ETs I'm hearing, and it's big a plan. It's a big plan to help humanity raise into the fourth density. So it's happening, and it's already happening. I mean, we're gonna make it. I already know we're gonna make it. So that's why I have such, love in my heart. I have no fear. We're gonna make it. So it's just a matter of making it quicker and having fun while we're doing it. So
Having
I
fun
think
while
it's
we're
all
doing
good.
it. The fun part
Yeah,
is the key word.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool. Okay. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Your next
No, no,
question.
no. I love it. Um, is there anything that is key for me to remember about this mission on Earth? Am I downloading pretty much everything I need to know, or is there something that in my humanness I forgot that's an essential? I think I have everything covered, but can you guys give me any hints of areas that I should look into more or beef up on more to help this ascension plan?
So what we want you to understand is it's the simple nature of you being exactly who you are. You know and you have the knowing of when and what you should do and what you need to do to enable this process. What we want you to see is that you're on the right track and you're always being guided in what steps to take. You're a very good listener and you hear the words that are being said to you and you understand what steps to take without hesitation. So you never question, you recognize exactly who you are and what you're meant to do, and you have taken on the assignment very very well and wholeheartedly, which is in our deepest gratitude. We also want you to understand that all the messages that you receive are encoded and embedded within your memory system, so that when the information or the action is needed or required, you already have the assignment and you recognize that you just tap into whatever that assignment is and you understand exactly what steps to take. You are, it's like what I just keep seeing is that you get in your flow so easily and you surrender to 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 the understanding of exactly what's needed to happen. It's like you don't hardly even use your brain anymore. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And it's like you live your life very intuitively. And you understand, oh, okay, they're telling me I need to turn right. Okay, I'm going to turn right. No question, no hesitation. You are, they're laughing and saying, you are ready of that dimension of understanding that is of the fifth dimension and higher. You're actually more of a sixth dimensional being, and you're just in that physical form. But the human aspect of you understands exactly what, and they're saying once again, you understand how to get out of the mind and the ego, and
Yeah,
that basically you don't even have the ego anymore. And understanding, I mean, it's like it's like the only thing that you really have left is the survival instincts. That's basically it. You're in your most natural form. And that's exactly what we're asking you to do as you serve as the model or the example of what humans can obtain by living in this 3D world at this particular time, but holding on to the knowledge and the wisdom that's being embedded within you so that you can recall how to move forward through the lifetime without any hesitation.
Gotcha. I
Does that make
downloaded all of that and completely makes sense.
okay?
Lisa spoke earlier about when I'm in Machu Picchu or other sacred sites about one of my key roles is to balance the field, that there are going to be many, many energies going upon that. I understand from the earth, from the sun, from humans, from the sacred sites, and it's going to cause an influx of energy like that. So my job is to balance it, try to make it so that it's easier for people to absorb and places to absorb the energy. How do I do that? Do I
Be,
tone? Do I word? Do
yeah,
I meditate?
you just be. They're
I
saying
just be.
recognize now the light language is coming in again. What we want you to understand is that you simply stay present at the particular time of the event that's occurring, and you will be guided in order what to do and how to do it. You'll be doing a combination of different events so that your mind will stay free and you'll be standing in the purest energy of who you are. You'll recognize that you're and I'm seeing your soul physically take over your body, and that it's complete surrender to the knowledge and the wisdom of the soul so that it can guide and tell you what needs to happen, and all you will be is the suitcase or the carrier for the soul in order for it to maneuver where it needs to go, what it needs to do, and where it needs to be, basically in the specific location at the specific time and what needs to be happening. They're saying it's like it's not predictable of what you need to do, because what we want you to understand is that when this energy comes up, there's a balancing energy that it's it's like it's an explosion. It's like when hot and cold meet. I'm hearing thunder and lightning, tornadoes, storms. So it's like what we want you to understand is that light energy and dark energy are going to come together and explode. So, what we want you to see is that at the particular time, in order to recognize what's happening at the moment, you have to stay present and allow your soul's knowledge to understand what you need to do in order how to rectify or alleviate the storm from exploding.
Excellent. I got that. I mean, what I got was just go there, don't have any plans,
Yeah.
and just follow your intuition at every moment, and it will come to you. And that's how
Absolutely.
you do it. Just be yourself and just receive it in and know that everything's perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's what I'm hearing again, and you understand this, but it's really important that you don't have an agenda. It's
Yeah.
like, I mean, it's important that okay, we're going to sit here in these specific spots and I'm going to do light language and this is it's like, no, because there's going to be so much more that happens that you can't really, and it's like, if a spark flies, then your focus may be over here, but if a spark comes up over here, then all of a sudden you're going to have to change and you're going to have to be guided to eliminate that spark. But if you think about it or if you have a plan, it's too structured. You've got to go with the flow. And what I'm seeing is a river, and you going down the river. And if you're trying to paddle upstream because you have an agenda to go back there, you're not going with the flow anymore. You're battling. And that's what we want you to understand, that you have to stay in the flow of the energy that is occurring.
How do I walk the fine line of doing my own thing, but also respecting the indigenous people and culture there, who are also doing their thing? How do I balance that? Any recommendations of how to balance that?
Yeah. No need to worry about it.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
because what we want you to understand is that the earth beings and the galactic forces are all working together.
Yeah.
Everything is working together. So
Yes.
again, that's the other reason why you don't go in with an agenda. Just go and
Yeah.
be, and you'll recognize what the elders will create. And I'm seeing like these vines growing rapidly and the trees spinning around. Understand that they have their earth magic and you have the star magic, and it all works together with synchronicity in order to create what is needed for the outcome.
Got it. One of the main things that needs to happen on Earth right now is the balancing of the male and female energy. Previously, well, in Lemuria, there was too much female energy, and in Atlantis, there was too much male energy. Now's the time of Aquarius where we're trying to balance it. Is there anything I should do proactively to balance it, or do I just be me? I mean, I'm a pretty balanced individual, feminine energy and male, but should I do ceremonies for the divine feminine, or is there anything I can do to help balance it, or does it not need my help and I just be myself?
No, and they're saying you're not going to like this answer. They're laughing and they're saying you're trying too hard. And
Oh,
they're saying
okay.
what we okay no, and the reason why is because this is kind of what I'm finding is that it's these rituals that have been ingrained with us for you know thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years. You have to do certain things, you have to say certain things, you've got to burn certain plants, you've got to do this and that, and they're saying recognize that that's not what this is about. This is different. And what we want you to see is that there's no ceremony needed because the human balance and the human structure is being shifted without the knowledge and the wisdom of what's transpiring. Recognize that the only thing that anyone needs to do is to get quiet. There's no reason to call in the gods or to, create harmony amongst the trees and the animals. That's done. They're saying recognize that's been done. The only reason for a ceremony or a sacred sacrament is only to become more at peace and quiet within the physical structure. If that's what you need, then take the medicine. However, we want you to recognize our plan's in place. It's done. It's already
Yeah,
set.
I know
It's
that.
already going to
Yeah.
happen. All you have to do is embody what is meant or intended for you at the particular time, which means simply be present. Simply be present.
And have fun. That's on my agenda to have fun.
Which is exactly where I don't know. I don't think I've ever told you, but my guides call it the fifth dimension. They call it the institution of joy.
Oh,
And
perfect. Because
so,
that's where
yeah,
we all want to be.
we're moving into the institution of joy. So guess what? Get happy.
Yeah, yeah.
Have fun and get happy.
Well, they just mentioned the physical body. So I do want to talk about how this activation on Machu Picchu and other sacred sites is actually impacting the physical body. My understanding is now we're transitioning in from a carbon-based body to a crystalline body. We're restructuring our DNA. We're moving out of the two-strand DNA into 12-strand. And I know there are even more strands after that, but right now let's just go from 2 to 12. And then with that, the influx of crystalline energy in there, our whole body is developing into crystalline, more crystalline, but like it's just lighter, less dense. Um, can they say something about that process? Can they add to what I said or provide clarification or embellishment?
It's been happening. They said what we want you to recognize is the physical structure of the human nature has been shifting and developing for quite some time. And they're saying it's been over, basically, they're saying it's 30 years
Yeah,
is what has been shifting and
yes,
changing, as in
yeah.
understanding that the human form has to take time to develop into this higher frequency, or
Yeah.
else the structure couldn't handle it. So
Mhm.
what we want you to see is that as individuals begin to let go of the heavy density that lies within them, such as belief systems. anything that I'm not worthy, all of that heavy stuff that our mind creates and that's being held in our energy field, as that's being removed, the physical crystalline structure is becoming stronger because it's no longer being interfered with the carbon based residue.
Yeah.
Okay.
It,
So what we want you to see is that in the time that you're referring to, that is going to be an experiential event that will raise the consciousness and the vibrational frequency of all things in September, understand that there will be physical effects, but we also want you to understand that they are being implemented up to that. They're saying that's why the solar flares have been so crazy. All of that high frequency energy that's been coming in, our bodies are becoming adaptable to what this energy is. However, in the month of September, physical ailments will increase on the earthly plane, and it will be due to this energy influx that is coming in.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep. And I understand everything's perfect. So some people are going to get sicker than others. Some are going to, so everything's perfect. It's according to what their blueprint or soul has planned. Um,
Well, it also depends on the work that they've done.
yeah.
Like if they, if they're very much in their head in that 3D based, fear based way, they haven't let go of their trauma. It's like that stuff that is so held so thick in their system, that's going to really come up, and people are
Clog
really
them.
going to,
It's going to clog their body. Yeah.
yeah. It's also going to come up to, like, what I'm seeing is like, God, I can't stop thinking about this. So like people maybe that have been assaulted or even did actions, that they assaulted somebody else. All of that stuff is coming to the surface because it has to be cleaned out. And
It
so in
has to
order
be
for the
cleaned out.
physical, if in order for the physical structure to shift into the crystalline way of
Yeah.
being, that old dense energy has to be removed. So will suicides increase? Possibly. Well, it depends on, how that human, if they've done their work and they've moved a little bit at a time, then it's not going to be as dramatic. But if they haven't, sorry, I'm about to sneeze. Let's see. Um, if they haven't and they've stayed so strong in, this is the way I believe and this is the way that it has to be and everybody else is wrong or whatever, those are the people that are really going to have their worlds rocked because
Yeah.
they have, it's like, because they're so heavy and so dense, and then all of a sudden this light stuff, and that's where the explosion is. That's where that makes sense. The lightning's going to strike.
I know the answer to this, but can you help the Earthlings know how to help their physical vessels in terms of this transition? Be it, should they ground more? Should they drink more water? Should they bluster water and imagine sacred geometry? Should they eat, I was gonna say more healthy, but I know that, vegetarian or less meat. Is there anything that the humans should do to help make their physical bodies transition easier or more probable to a light crystalline body?
Recognize that eating more vegetables, but what we also want you to understand, root vegetables. Root vegetables are of the most significance because they are the highest vibrational frequency at this particular time. We also want you to understand the need for leafy greens, lettuces, no iceberg lettuce, anything but iceberg lettuce. And
Okay.
we also want you to understand that yellow orange fruits are significantly important. Things like mangoes, papayas, bananas, oranges, anything that is of the yellow orange, and they're saying even red would even be beneficial, red apples. So anything that are those color frequencies are at the same vibrational rate that is needed in order to shift the physical structure. The other aspect that will help assist humans is, again, water, whether it's in water, like in a lake, in a pond, in the bathtub. Water is it's electrical conduit, and so it helps to reduce the frazzle is how they're explaining it. So, like, if there's a lot of stuff that's going on, it helps to align it to where it's more in balance within the physical structure. Groundedness is extremely important, as humans will have a tendency to leave their body in the time of stress or fracture. So, staying grounded and staying present in the physical body is of the utmost importance. We also want you to recognize that protein is important at this particular time, as it is in any time when the energetic processes of the physical body are entailed. However, we also want you to recognize that the animals understand the sacrifice that they must make at this particular time in order to create the balance of the energetic body for the human, which will help humanity and all living things in the long run. So, in other words, eating protein is extremely important. And so, if it's the point, there's a difference between vegetable protein and animal protein. And they're saying we want animal protein. And so, what we want you to see is that if you find that your body is feeling what I'm feeling is like if your body's feeling like this and sharp pains within it, you need more vegetables and you need more animal protein.
Gotcha.
Okay.
I'm pretty clear about my grid work and going to sacred sites and helping that on an energetic level, neutralizing any spikes and doing all that fun stuff. Another thing that I'm here on Earth to do is to help the Earthlings, to teach them, to model for them, to show them that they can have spiritual enlightenment and joy instead of just meditating in the cave. That's one of my things that I get is to really help people learn to enlighten themselves with joy. Do they have any advice on that? I mean, I've wrestled with things like how do I want to give people this information and I want it to reach a lot of people, but yet I also want to give people quality and in-depth knowledge that is the one-on-one. Um, I I also know that I'm supposed to activate people. There's a whole bunch of ways you can activate. I can do it through light language. I can do it through my mudras. I can do it simply by smiling. That's my favorite technique. Um, do they have any recommendations for me in terms of how to help people find enlightenment, knowledge, and activations?
I mean, you'll have the ability to share your voice in a more powerful way than what you have done in the past. They're saying you've had many obstacles or detours to prevent you from doing this. What we want you to understand is that January of 2026 is going to be a big changing point. What you're going to find over the next 6 months, you're going to see that there'll be many changes that occur upon the earth, and how it maneuvers and the humans upon it maneuver, and you will be able to gain more of a structure or a base of how to use your information in a more meaningful way that can help and assist others. But at this particular time, we need you on the earth plane to help the earth shift. So it's more like at this time, you've got your work to do. But it's like once there's still some things that you're learning and that you're going to be learning and clearing out and restructuring. And so it's
Mhm.
really this time that you're focusing on yourself.
Okay.
And um, once you get through this next 6 months,
Yeah.
then the following 12 months is going to be a completely new cycle for you. And what you'll
Okay.
find is that you're going to figure out exactly how you want to present your information, how you want to share your message. And it's more or less of a structuring thing. And so like you're going through a big shift for the next 6 months. From January to the next following June, you're going to figure out, no, this is exactly what needs to happen. This is how it
Okay.
needs to happen. And you'll have, I'm hearing lesson plans. You'll have more structure in how to do this. And so
Okay.
that will be put in place. And then by this time next year, you'll be ready to fly high.
Okay.
That
Okay.
makes sense to you?
It completely makes sense.
Okay.
So one of the things that I've been doing, because I do a lot of things, is that I actually can take people's energy, people who are having problems, and I can absorb their problematic energy and I take it into my body and I transmute it. Um, I do that out of love and joy and as a gift to them. Um, should I not do that for the next 6 months and just go straight on me? I think I can do it without harming me, but again, it really
Yeah.
is taking their trauma into my body and then transmuting it and then shooting
Yeah.
it out.
Yeah.
Should I kind of just make sure I'm okay first before
Yeah.
I
Yeah. It
do
distorts
that?
your truth.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It bubbles my vibration because when
Yeah.
I absorb their vibration, I get pulled down a little bit.
Yeah, that's the reason why you don't need to do it. Not at this time. They're saying recognize that there's other ways that you can do it without harming your own energy pattern as well.
Okay, okay. But in the future, I can. I mean, in the future we
Yeah,
can.
you're gonna find a different way to do it.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
They're
All
saying
right.
we don't want you to absorb other people's energy. It's not in your best interest, and
Yeah,
it's not good for your body.
yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. Yeah,
I
yeah,
keep
yeah,
hearing
yeah.
it creates more chaos. So
It,
it
it,
creates more chaos for you.
Yeah, it does. I like to think that I can transmute it and therefore it doesn't, but you're correct that I there's always going to be some lingering negative vibration that I source from them. So it's probably best that I don't do that until I'm more secure in doing that
Yeah.
in the future. So let me
Yeah, but
concentrate on.
yeah, you need to focus on you right now.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
as much as you help others by just being who you are. But there is going to be a different way and a different modality that you can use that doesn't bring in their energy into your field. They're
Yeah.
saying we want you to understand that this is significantly important, that you don't need to interact your frequency with others as you're doing more harm to yourself than what you're doing to help them.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I
Okay.
think that what you'll find, and again, I'm seeing that you can remove energy,
Hmm.
and what I'm seeing is that, and you can send it to a different dimension or a different way without using your body as the
Yeah.
physical construct in order to
Yeah.
do it. So you just need to work on the technique.
Okay. Gotcha, because I've been using my body. I know the technique to use my body, and I can ground it into Gaia or shoot it out to the universe, but I also kinda get that some of it lingers on me, and it's probably not too healthy for me to continue to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's your physical structure that's going to be depleted.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
okay.
hearing.
Completely makes sense. Um, see. Any last words they can tell me about my new gifts that are coming on? I have so many clear abilities coming on that it's just like tremendous amount of funds, and it's not like the regular clears. Uh, do they want to give me any helpful hints of new ones that are going to be popping online or I should be investigating?
Um, okay, I'm seeing the invisible man. And it's like,
Okay.
so it's almost like you can transform your energy pattern to become less visible to others. Now,
Yeah.
why this is important or why this is significant is that you can stand in a space without, okay, so the reason why is like, so I'm seeing you like at Machu Picchu and all the people walking around, but maybe you need to be like right in the middle of where all the people are. And okay, so when people look at you,
Yeah.
they're like, oh, there's somebody sitting there. Not, just they just focus their attention on you. You're absorbing their energy, and it's a distraction to who you are. So
Mhm.
what we want you to see is that you're going to find that you have the ability to sit in a crowd and be unseen so that you can focus on your own work and your own energy. Does that make sense to you?
Oh, it makes perfect sense. I mean, it's perfect timing for Machu Picchu because that's actually be used in Machu Picchu, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, or
because
any
yeah.
area that is
Mhm.
populated, like
Correct,
New York
correct,
City,
correct, correct.
for
That's
example.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Very valuable, very practical. Thank you. I never thought about that, but yes, that would come in very handy. So I
Yeah.
something that just popped into my mind is that just like the same way that I've been going to sacred sites, I've been actually walking around New York City and I've been cleansing the energy of the tenements and slums because I can kind of transmute the energy, take the trauma that's been in that spot and transmute it with love and understanding and protection. Um, I know it's happening. I know I look weird. I'm standing in front of the tenement and I'm transmuting the history of it, in New York City. But in New York City,
Yeah.
we're all weird. So, as I just do it. Is there anything they can tell me about that process to perfect it, improve it, or do I just keep on doing it? Because I'm having a lot of joy in doing
Yeah.
what I'm doing.
No, you just do you. You're
Okay.
saying
Yeah.
recognize that you know intuitively exactly what needs to be done. And that's what you're doing when you're doing it. You're just getting into the rhythm of whatever's coming to you. You don't have any judgment or you're not trying to do anything more. And they're saying, and that's the key. They say, we want you to understand that you don't have to follow a rule book.
Yeah.
And so, what we want you to see is that in the moment, you're being guided always. So, recognize that the more that you stay in the moment, the more information that comes to you, and the more that you're guided to just be. So, allow your mind to be set aside and simply stay in the presence, and you'll recognize that all the answers will come.
Perfect. And that's exactly what I do, and I just have fun, and I just do my little weird things,
Yeah.
but it's just terrific. Uh, well, this has been really, really great. Do they have any last words or statements for me? This has been terrific. Much appreciation and gratitude from my heart. I love all you non-physical beings, and it's just so great that you're helping us. Um, so, do they have any closing statements or any advice for me?
What we want you to know is that you're doing well. Never have doubt in who you are or who you're becoming. Understand that you are always held in our hands with love. You are a precious being that is walking upon the earth. You will always have the support, the care, the love, and all that you need around you. You will never do without. We simply want you to understand that you are a walking angel that is on the earth in order to help others. But we also want you to recognize, as you have said, the point of being joyful and be happy and being content. Recognize that this is the most significant ability that you have and that it is of the utmost importance at this time. The more that you can find the truth of who you are in the love nature, the more that you can find the happiness and the joy. And that's when your eyes begin to see things in a different way with a higher vibrational frequency, you see the truth within all things, and you recognize that there's always love and joy in all things and all beings. And this is what is of the most importance.
I love that. Absolutely terrific. Uh, well, let's close out the records because I understand that we got to close it out and give them honor and thank you, um, for this information with honor and for the highest good. Like to close out the records with my gratitude and appreciation.